Okay, let's get started using Asteroid. I'm going to show you how to create a simple table, and this will help you to begin analysing your data.
We're now going to have a look at using Asteroid, creating, interpreting, saving and exporting crosstabs, and also views and filtering. To start Asteroid, you need to double-click on the desktop icon. Having double-clicked the Asteroid icon, it launches the program. You'll first see an Asteroid splash screen, and then it will prompt you to open a database. This Open Database screen is similar to a recently used items list. If the database you want to use isn't available here, you can go to the Browse button and search for that database. For this session, we'll be using the training database. When you click on Open, it will show you a welcome screen. We're going to start with the following action. We're opening a new task, and the task type is Tabulation. This dialog box will be shown each time a database is opened, unless you remove this tick. So here we have the training database. I'd first like to show you different ways of getting items from the All Items area, the data dictionary, into the rows and columns. Expanding any one of the folders or the classes will list the variables contained within. You can click and drag an item and it will place it within the relevant area. Alternatively, if the area is active, as you can see we have rows in bold, you can double click an item and it will automatically go to that active area. Finally, if you right mouse click an item, it allows you to add select to rows, columns or layers. To remove items from the rows and the columns, you may double click. You can right mouse click and choose delete selected or delete all. Or you can use a button on the toolbar. It will give you a warning to make sure that you do really want to remove everything within the table. So I'm now going to put a quick table together. When you're creating a table, you generally have an objective in mind. For this table, we want to look at the total number of people who own a mobile phone. Therefore, we're going to go to the Lifestyle class, Mobile Phones, and we're looking for mobile phone ownership. We want to place the people who say, yes, I own a mobile phone, into the rows. This is the minimum that you can have within a table. You must have something in the rows. It's not mandatory to place something within columns. I'd also like to show you Settings Show Numbers. Settings Show Numbers allows you to specify what you want to see on the table. So we can say we want to see unweighted count. Tick that box. We also want to see horizontal percentages, and we'll see index. So we're basically showing everything. It allows you to specify decimal places. For this table, we'll change decimal places for vertical percentages. We'll have 2 decimal places here. Click away from the dialog box, and we're going to run the table. So here we have a very simple table. We've specified the question, do you own or use a mobile phone? And we're looking at only those people who say yes to that question. Our total weighted count is 16,623,000, and we have a weighted count of 5,919,000. The V% tells us that 35.61% of the population say yes, I own a mobile phone. Please note that this is the training database. It is not current data, and therefore this data should not be quoted for marketing purposes. I'd just like to spend a moment talking about the views that you have within Asteroid. We saw previously that we put the rows and columns together using the selection view. By default, when you run the table, it opens in grid view. Grid view is like an Excel spreadsheet in that you have cells and you can select those cells. We also have report view, and it allows you to select very precisely anything that you want to within the screen. If you're printing, report view is the better view to use. However, grid view will show more columns across the viewable screen. You're also able to change the column size as required. If you need to move items, you can do that. And if you have a large table, you can freeze labels. By right mouse clicking on the screen, choose Freeze Labels, and it will freeze the column and row headings. This is a very small table, so it's less effective. On a larger table, that's very useful. Once you have frozen labels, when you try to select, it will select the entire screen or whole rows or columns. So I'll take off that freeze. I'd like to spend a moment talking about saving and exporting data. The grid, once you have run a table, can be saved. When you go to Save Grid, it will by default save it as an XLS spreadsheet. That's one way of exporting data to Excel. Alternatively, if you want to select specific cells, you can copy and paste those into Excel.